Aloha and welcome to another episode of our mini episode series, Love is Also Viral. And today's discussion is with a beautiful being, Rebecca Keating. And Rebecca is so many things. She's a sound alchemist, a Kambo and Reiki practitioner. She is a HeartMath practitioner, and she will share some of that in this episode. Spoiler alert. Rebecca runs also a beautiful online and brick and mortar shop called Shaman Sisters. And there is an event space there called the Aura Room, which I've had the joy and privilege of conducting ceremony in. She is so many things, and I just would love us to get into the conversation. And before I do, I just wanted to send, again, love and blessings on behalf of my podcast co-host, Emma Kupu Mitchell, and myself to all the listeners as we all navigate these times together. May you find the moments for sacred self-care, because I know that that's where the creative solutions to moving through this time are going to rise up from. Love you, and here's our conversation with Rebecca. Aloha, and welcome to another of these mini episodes of the Awakened Woman Self-Care Podcast. And as I have officially introduced her earlier, but this is our real live conversation. Rebecca Keating of Shaman Sisters, and there she sits in her beautiful aura room this morning, this sacred space. And so welcome, Rebecca, and thank you for, first of all, I just want to say thank you for all the beauty you bring to this world. And you are such, also this is somebody I know, having done a workshop with Rebecca, but really just being attracted to the energetic vibration that she is, which is absolutely divine. So thank you for being here and sharing your insights.
Thank you so much. I remember the first conversation that we ever had together, and I was like, okay, this lady, we're on the same vibe. So I was looking forward to chatting with you about love is viral. It's an amazing theme to be talking about. When I think about what resonates with me in terms of love being viral, is just the choice that we're faced with right now between love and fear. And there's so much information out there and with everything that's going on in everyone's lives, it is very easy to fall into a fear mindset. And so really, and that's okay too. I mean, a lot of people are shifting between different states of emotions, minute by minute, really, and that is totally okay. But it's about switching that thinking and that vibration back into love, because we are really co-creating right now. So I feel like it's very important to be putting our intentions out there mindfully and really putting the vibration of love out as much as we can.
Yeah, thank you. I think this theme of, that we're feeling #all the feels, and this idea that we are co-creating something. And so there, I think all of us are fluctuating between all of those emotions and the kind of this anticipation and excitement that we're sort of planting in alignment with the spring rising up here in Toronto. Certainly. I would love you to share, because, you have so many aspects to you. You have this love affair with crystals, and that's your shop, the Shaman Sisters, which people can find online. You also are a very expert sound practitioner. So can you maybe give some ideas of how both crystals and sound can play into, tending ourselves and helping us be more in this vibration of love?
Well, in terms of crystals, you can work with, heart-based type stones like rose quartz. Moonstone is really good right now for emotions. I'm also recommending a lot of grounding stones because they do help anchor us to the earth and help us to transmute some of those lower, heavier energies. So you can work with crystals to help transmute energies, to bring it, to raise your vibration up. And then in terms of sound can really help to cut into anything that's trapped in your energy field. So if there's any heavy energy, the sound can break that energy up and allow you to release it. And then that will also raise your vibration.
Yeah. And, I know another thing that you could speak to as a business person is this, this challenge that we have to create around, because you do, your store is a retail location. This aura room that you share with others, this beautiful, beautiful sacred space, has been hosting a lot of live workshops. And so I know there's a lot of people who are, who have businesses, and this is a challenging time for that. And so is there any advice you might give to people who have businesses, brick and mortar shops, both, offerings that they do live, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's a really good time for people to look at restructuring because it's happening on a global scale and it's trickling into our own lives with the breaking up of ways we're used to doing our businesses. And so a lot of people who weren't online before are jumping online now, and anyone, like, you can offer, if you're a dog groomer, you can offer dog grooming online and videos and short information. And so you can really think about creative ways to expand your business. I see so many businesses right now who are finding alternatives and thriving through this time. Maybe not thriving, but they're coming up with ideas so they can maintain while we go through this restructuring. And that's what we're doing too. We want to get as much information out there like you do and just share with people, because we want to be able to share tools and resources with people during this time.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people like yourself are really feeling this impulse to share, and are offering a lot of things that are free. And I think that this is a beautiful, beautiful initiative, and this is part of how we are in service. And also, I think that being, having a boundary around that is something that needs to happen, because of course, uh, you have this impulse to assist everyone, and you need to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right? So how do you balance that? What
So right now, because I'm actually quite busy, I'm not home meditating like most people or some people, but I am doing meditation in the morning, and that's not something that I typically make time to do every day. But I'm making sure I do my meditation. I'm doing yoga in the evening, and I am slowing down. There's this funny thing with time right now, I find. I don't know if you're finding that. But I am slowing down and not putting so much pressure on myself to get everything done, because we have a lot of time on our hands right now.
Yeah.
So it will get done.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was just thinking of that this morning about the time, and how there's this real, it's very interesting to me time right now, because it's almost like everything has slowed down so much, and yet there's also this feeling of escalation, and that things are moving very quickly. And yet I feel that it's just, and this is just something I was personally pondering in my meditation this morning, how we are really being invited to into this whole new way of being. And it has its own timing. There's no rush to this. So as we are, sitting with these new seeds, I think, in effect, that we're kind of birthing collectively, because, you've had to sort of reinvent the way that you've been offering everything. And so you sprung right into action, but I think there's going to be some lasting seeds probably that you're planting now that you don't even maybe exactly know what they might be. And I know that too for myself, and I'm okay with that, even though normally I would always want to go, well, where's that going? Where's that going? So I don't know if you're finding that that aspect of it either, like if that's something that you've been experiencing. But yeah, I feel that absolutely that a meditative practice at this time, and that can look like anything. It doesn't have to be sitting in silence. Is really
Gardening.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been calling what we're experiencing a global shamanic initiation, because it seems like that's what it is. And I've experienced personally many shamanic initiations, and so we're in the phase of the death and the restructuring, and the dying to old ways of being, and we don't know what is going to be the rebirth, which is in a sense very exciting, but not for everybody, because there's a lot of uncertainty. So, but it is an initiation on a global level, which is going to create massive change.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful way to describe it. Can you, for those that are not familiar with what that is, could you kind of describe how that would show up, and what the phases are? We're in
Yeah.
the gas phase, but yeah, talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a really interesting metaphor for this.
Yeah. So with the shamanic initiation, it's something that is kind of put on you without really, well, you don't choose it. It just happens. And it's a life event that really rips the rug from underneath you. And often your entire life, whether that's an illness or, an extreme situation or death of a loved one, that's just so unexpected, and it just completely takes you on a whole nother path. It can be one of the most challenging times of your life. And when you're in it, it is really hard to stay positive and keep your vibration high and do all those things, because your whole life is completely different and changing. And so there's uncertainty, there's fear. And the part about the initiation is that you really don't know what comes on the other side. And so you really have to learn to surrender to whatever the experience is. And eventually you go through the healing process, and you go through what you need to do, the releasing and the purging. And sometimes these things can last, like, personally for for several years. Sometimes it's a few months, depending on the situation. But when you come out on the other side of it, which is the rebirth and the new life, and you have really let go of a lot of things that are no longer serving you. And so I look at what's happening globally, and that's the way I see it right now. And that's a really big shift in awareness for humanity. Does that help?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that because, it's this, again, there's this call to, we just be present in this moment, in each moment, and don't leap into fear or leap into, um, that's it's really interesting. It's such a good, metaphor, and I haven't heard anyone describe it as such. I've heard a lot of, global reset and new earth, and but yeah, it is very much like this, as a shamanic initiation. So we just stay in that present moment, surrender,
Trust.
um,
And
and
trust.
and trust.
And
Yeah.
go back to love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trust that we're held. Really being connecting in, part of getting through a shamanic initiation as well as this global one is really tuning into self, um, and yourself that is connected to source, and become intimate with that piece of who you are, and that's a powerful thing to do, when we are in this time where we're feeling a little powerless. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have anything before we wrap that you would like to share?
If I have time, I wanted to share. I'm a HeartMath practitioner, and I wanted to share the quick coherence technique because it can really help to shift your vibration between, from fear to love. So, and it's very simple. It's a very simple technique that you can do in just a few minutes. This is backed by science, but I don't have time to get into that. So I'm just going to go right into it. So if you're watching this, you just close your eyes and you're going to bring your awareness into the center of your heart. And you're going to take some really deep breaths, and you're going to imagine that you're breathing through the center of your heart. And just keep your breaths long, about 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. And just continue to imagine that you're breathing through the center of your heart. And then you're going to cultivate a positive emotion. Something that you're grateful for. It can be appreciation for a pet. Anything that brings those positive emotions. And just hold those positive emotions in your heart center as you breathe through your heart. And that's essentially the technique. If you continue to do that technique for 3 minutes, it shifts the chemicals in your body from cortisol to DHEA, which is the love, the joy, and the good vibrations. So that is a technique that you can use at any time. It's very simple, and do it for at least 3 minutes.
Well, that I can't think of a more perfect place to wrap up. Thank you so much for that and for sharing that. And yeah, so if a lot of us do that, I see this escalation of energy across the planet. So thank you. Love you so much. Mwah.
Thank you so much. Love you too. Have a great day.